This is Rachel with the Otago Prattville Public Library, and today we are making sun catchers with pony beads. So I have 7 small muffin tins. I have a baby food jar lid, and I have a springform pan here. And I'm just kind of showing you how it works. I'm going to use the baby food jar lid to create a hole in the middle of my creation, just so it looks cool. Or if you if you tightly pack your beads, you won't have any holes in your actual sun catcher, and you'll want something that you can attach the string with. So that's what I had originally intended, was to use that large hole created by the baby food jar lid to be the hole that we could tie our sun catcher up with. But it ended up kind of getting in the way for the beginning part, so I did remove that and add it back in later. And right now, because I want a nice rainbow pattern, I am putting a bunch of the red translucent pony beads. So you want a plastic or acrylic pony beads, and you want the ones that are kind of transparent, that aren't fully opaque. And so I'm getting all the red transparent ones and putting them around the edge. And once I get them all situated, because they are kind of slippery, you'll want to continue, if you want to do the rainbow pattern like I'm doing, you'll continue with orange and then yellow, green, blue, and purple. I added some clear beads in the center after doing all my colored layers, and then I used my little tins to go ahead and make little dangly bits for my sun catcher that make it almost into a wind chime as well. And as you can see, I'm taking my time arranging the beads here, making sure that they're facing with the hole facing up. The threading hole of the bead is facing up, and that just allows for more even melting. If you don't have time to do that, it's okay. You can absolutely put them in to where some of them are sideways, or they're all sideways, or whatever works for you. You can also randomize the bead colors by just dumping a bunch in and making sure that you have an even layer along the bottom of your pan. One of the small ones that I'll be making in the cupcake tin is randomized in that way, and it still looks super cute, and it takes far less time, so that's another option. But if you're doing this one with your kids, you can have them help you pick out the beads and arrange them. You can really make any type of colors or patterns that you'd like, and by having them pick out specific colors of beads and arrange them, you're working on fine motor skills as well as color recognition and bonding with the family. So that's really fun. So I'm on to yellow, picking out all my yellow beads and putting those around the edge. And we're just going to continue in this fashion with all the colors, trying to keep them somewhat evened out so that we don't have any big lumps of color. When they melt, it will kind of blur things a little bit, so you don't want to worry too much about getting it super precise. I probably went a little overboard in trying to be precise with mine, but when it melts, it kind of squishes together. Speaking of melting, you will need an oven or an outdoor grill oven for this, and you do want to be very cautious because the fumes from melting plastic are bad for you. So you want to open up some windows while you do this baking part, or you'll want to make sure that you've got good ventilation going on. So I'm on to the green. My oven is being preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and once that is preheated and my beads are arranged, we're just going to stick all of our pans in the oven. Now I let my creations bake for about 20 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And that wasn't quite enough for mine, partially because I didn't pack them in quite as densely as I could have. So for my creation, I ended up going about another 20 to 30 minutes additionally. So if you want to be sure when you're doing this project to set aside at least 40 minutes for the baking. However, if you use smaller dishes, that will make a difference. If you use different beads, that can make a difference. If your oven is different, that can make a difference. So there's a lot of different factors in there, and it's very important that you keep a close eye on the baking process to be sure you don't catch your beads on fire or burn them or do some other thing that will smell horrible and ruin your bakeware in your kitchen. So we're on to the light blue. We're almost finished with our rainbow. It's looking really good. And once we do the blue and the purple, we can add some of the clear beads in the center. And at that point, I'm going to re-add the baby food lid to create that big hole in the center. It's kind of at the edge of the center, I suppose. So as I'm arranging my beads, my oven's preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. We have all of our safety things in mind. Obviously you'll want to have like an oven mitt or a dishcloth or something to protect your hands as you are putting your creations in and out of the oven to keep your hands safe from the heat. And it's good to let it cool. I let mine cool actually overnight, just to be extra safe. You can probably get away with letting it cool for just an hour or two. And then once it cools, you can pop it right out of the mold and start assembling your actual Suncatcher. So now I'm adding the clear beads. And it's pretty cool because when it comes out, it almost sounds a little bit like glass. Like the plastic forms a pane of melted beadiness. Basically the plastic forms a pane of melted plastic that ends up looking and kind of imitating a stained glass type of effect, which is really neat. So if you make yours a little sturdier by making sure that you have very dense arrangement of the beads, or if you do multiple layers and sandwich them together, for instance, you would want to do one layer at a time and then like hot glue them together with your twine in between or something like that. But if you do something a little bit sturdier like that, you could absolutely make more of a Windchime out of it and get some pretty sounds from the plastic clinking together. So I'm about arranged there. I'm going to pop that big one in the oven, starting off for 20 minutes, but I am going to check on it before then. Probably every 5 to 10 minutes I'll check on it, just to be extra safe. And now I'm creating my little mini Suncatcher dangles to go at the bottom. So I'm doing these color coordinated as well. I want a red one, an orange one, yellow, green, blue, and purple. And then I'm going to do one that's kind of a mishmash of all the beads that are left over. So it's going to end up having a lot of the pink in there, some orange, some green, that sort of thing. I'm stacking the cups up as I go, as I fill them in with the beads, just kind of for simplicity's sake, so I know which ones are done and ready to go. So I have a visual representation of where I'm at in this process, but you can absolutely leave them laid out. I will take them and separate them again later, and put them, in fact, on top of another cupcake tin to just secure them while they're getting ready to be baked. And then I'll put the bottom cupcake tin these cupcake tins with the beads on them that are arranged kind of spread out a little bit, and then the beads, of course, in there, and the whole 9 yards. Just stick it all in the oven as well. Now, so these probably went in the oven about 10 minutes after the big one did, and they all came out at about the same time. So I do recommend taking the size of your creation into account with the baking time. Also, I did not pack these as densely, nor did I face them all the same direction. Again, I think the more even and dense of a layer you can get, the thicker and sturdier your plastic's going to be once it's melted. And if you face them all face up, it ends in a little bit more of a structured texture. So here they are fresh out of the oven. They cooled overnight, and I actually let them cool with the oven off for about half an hour before taking them out of the oven. So I'm just going to pop all of these out of their molds. The big one popped out quite easily because the springform pan is designed for that. It's perfect for that. And I'm going to use a big piece of twine to go ahead and make the hanging part for this main bulk of the Suncatcher. And I just am using the little gaps between the beads that look sturdy to secure my twine. You can use that big hole if you want to put the twine in, or you can get creative. I'm going to use some hot glue later to secure my bottom pieces with the twine to the main piece. So there's different ways that you can attach it and assemble it and put it all together. But I found this fun rainbow cord, and I'm using that because, you know, rainbows, gotta have at least 3 rainbows per Suncatcher, right? And I spent some time thinking about what lengths I wanted them, if I wanted the cord doubled up or just single tied. I ended up single tying them each, and then once I got all of my little bottom dangly pieces attached to some cord, I went and heated up my glue gun and began attaching those to the main body of the Suncatcher. So you can really arrange these however you want. This is the one that's kind of all mixed up in color, and it looks super cute. So if you wanted to cut back on time significantly, you could absolutely just dump a layer of random beads onto your pan or in your little baking tin or whatever, and that would still make a really cute Suncatcher that will create cool designs and still have a stained glass looking effect. So if you want to save on time on arranging the beads, picking out colors, so on and so forth, you absolutely can. I just wanted to show you an example of what you could do with this. So with our cord, we've got our scissors so we can trim off any excess edge, any excess cord, I mean. And we've got our hot glue gun warming up and an extra glue stick just in case. I did not end up using very much hot glue, so I didn't need to use that extra glue stick. But once it heated up, I was able to arrange and secure each of my little mini Suncatchers to dangle at the bottom. And I put them with a little bit of overlap so that they could potentially bump into each other if the wind is blowing or something like that, and make that nice wind-chimey sound. So that's absolutely an option that you could look into. And if you do choose to hot glue your strings on, I just use the nozzle of the hot glue gun to apply a dab of hot glue. I put the string over it, and then I do another dab of hot glue that I kind of smush down on top of the string or cord as well. And that way you're able to make sure that it's really nice and secure. So we're going to carry on gluing. Of course, there's the little glue gun strings that like to get everywhere, and the occasional fight with the glue gun as you try to make it actually glue things. And then I'm trimming each cord as I go, just a little bit above the glue spot, so that there's a little bit of extra cord showing, but not a whole lot, to kind of distract from the stained glass effect. And I'm reinforcing each one with an extra dab of glue over top, letting my glue gun cool down, and we have a finished Suncatcher. Now I just added the kind of potpourri one to the top hanging part because I thought that would look cute. So we've got a little bit of extra embellishment at the top, a little bit of extra embellishment at the bottom, and we've got a really cute rainbow Suncatcher. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. I would love to see pictures of what you create if you like to create along with this.